This is a message for parents and students. We've had some feedback from you that some of you would like to see some of us in person, as well as the written letters we're putting through. So we're trying to find that balance. I'm not going to put anything new into this that people who can't access the online systems will do, but hopefully it's an opportunity just to summarise where we're at, some of the challenges that we and you are facing, some of the solutions to that, and then how we move on and what things are looking like in the future, because there is so much at this time that's still uncertain. I think it's only appropriate to start by offering condolences to those families that have experienced loss at this time. Clearly we know about a number of these. Some of those are COVID related, some aren't. But there may well be others that we don't know about. And I'm aware that at this time that's been the most important factor for many families, and we can only offer our sympathies in those cases. We do on our website offer some support for families, and actually there are services we can access, particularly young people are struggling to manage the difficulties of understanding loss. And so if there's anything we can do that, please do make that aware during the welfare phone calls. Please contact your head of year, and any support we can offer at this extremely difficult time, we're happy to do so. I'm also aware a great many families will have experienced illness through this period. And one of the messages we're certainly getting back come through from staff, and we had a lot of staff illness at the start of this process, is that the recovery can take a particularly long time in certain cases. There may well be families and young people who have struggled by the length of time which it's taken to recover from illness, and that can create worries on just how are they coping academically, have they had the support that we'd want to give them from home or at the time. Clearly, working from home and actually economic worries on not being able to work from home also create pressure. This whole range of circumstances have meant there's a very, very different experience from a range of families. We've looked to support where we can, but if there's things going on that we don't know about, please once again let us know, either through the welfare phone calls or through contacting the head of year, and we can look at any support that we can put in place either now or when the students come back. First and foremost, this lockdown has been about public health and well-being rather than academic progress. We're looking to support both of those as we go along, but we recognise everyone's experience in this storm we're all experiencing is very, very different, and we understand students have very different needs, both now and returning from that afterwards. Over the last 3 months, we as a country have seen significant changes, and as a school and as families, we've all had to adapt to that. We've certainly looked to make sure that we're putting in place the welfare support that we can to be supporting you as families with the children and their mental well-being. I've already referred to some of the online resources we've got and the conversations they can have with teachers. But just as important is making sure that we're providing the correct level of academic support for our students, and that differs with each year group. We've certainly looked to evolve our offer as time has gone on. We suffered quite a bit with staff illness at the start of this process. We were quite short on numbers, and we found that our online system, perhaps whilst was strong for homework, didn't do everything we wanted at this time. But we've looked to grow and we've looked to evolve, and we're grateful for the feedback we've had from each of you through that time and process as well. We're now moving to many more live lessons, and we're making sure that our systems are up to speed and ready to do that. We're investing significantly over this summer in making sure our on-site IT and internet connectivity are up to speed, so that whatever we face in September, all of the students will be in a stronger position to benefit from that. Some of the welfare calls often ask us about the benefits of sanctions and self-motivation in motivating students, and I'm well aware that some students are now finding it more difficult as we enter 12, 13, 14 weeks and beyond lockdown of just how we keep them going. We've taken the approach right from the word go that sanctions aren't the way to do this. I'm not sure that there's any sanction I could think up that if I said to the students, you'll be in detention every night for the rest of your school career, whether that would still motivate those who don't want to work over what could be a 3, 4, even 6-month period going on to make sure that they're working. We think it's by encouragement, by self-motivation, that students will do their best. And I've spoken about this in some of the letters I've sent home to parents. We're still uncertain what examinations are going to look like in 2021. Ofqual have said to us that we'll get an announcement by the end of term on exactly what that will be. We found, though, that we find out information at the same time as everyone else. With the evening briefings, we see it at the same time as you do. We often then have to wait for clarification on exactly what each of those means. I'd use an example of that in terms of getting Year 10 and 12 back, when we were excited to be able to prepare for Year 10 and 12 students coming back having an on-site experience. We worked through trying to create timetables, sticking with all of the current regulations, and it was about a week later when the final regulations came out and we were only allowed 25% of the students on site. Trying to comply with this and all the other guidelines meant that we weren't able to run an options experience as we'd wanted to. And the same could happen with our examinations experience this summer in terms of what will the requirements be, what's the interpretation of that. And so whilst we might get an announcement from Ofqual late on in July, it could be later on into August or actually even September before we were able to say categorically, this is what this means. And so to all of the Year 10 and 12 students, I would say this: keep working as hard as you can. We know there is a pressure on content. We don't know what adjustments will be made for that, but we can assume nothing. We can't assume there will be no centre assessed grade aspect going on, that there may well be your mocks and some of the assessments that occur as we go along could become important. And equally, we don't know if there will be a second wave of a virus that may affect your examinations and schools years further next time. All you can do at the moment is control what you can control. And that means working through on the guidance that the teachers have given, listening to the feedback that they give you, and trying to respond to that. We'll use the online lessons to try and address some of your common misconceptions and any concerns that you have. We can address matters when we come back to school, but clearly there is a content pressure at this period of time that we need to continue to look through and consider. Don't give up on it at this point. The country isn't in a position where all of Year 10 and all of Year 12 can go back and resit that year because of the amount of time they've missed. There simply isn't the space in school, particularly if we're having to do any form of social distancing alongside this as well. So keep going, keep the effort going. It will make a difference in the end. And for those gaps that you're worried about, every student and every school in the country is going to be facing some of those problems themselves. For students in Years 7, 8 and 9, whilst there isn't the same pressure on your content for knowing examinations next summer, the principles apply just the same. What's really important is you maintain good work habits, because if you back away from that now, it will be very difficult to catch up with your peers as we go along. So what we're looking for is that you actually don't give up when things get difficult. Try all of the work, and if you're not sure, please send a message to your teachers. You've got the opportunity of live and online lessons now, which, although smaller, we're developing. But you can also email them at any point and get that feedback. The written feedback does take the staff longer, and it's not as efficient as we'd like as we develop our offer, but getting that feedback is crucial, and the process your brain goes through as you try something difficult, don't understand it, get more advice, is still really, really important in learning. And if you can maintain those good learning habits, you will be in a great position for success as you come back to us. We are not sure how long this is going to run on for. We want to help students try and catch up, and we're preparing for that when they come back to school. Because we don't know when you'll all be back and what it would look like when you do, it's really important you take control. And the students who have most resilience and keep going, even if they find things difficult, will be the ones that have most success. And it's not those who just get everything easily first time that will be successful. It's those that have gone through their difficulties, pushed themselves to the edge of their understanding, and learned to work through the challenges they face. Please do use us to support that, and please do speak to the staff on your welfare call at all. If you think you've not been working as hard as you could, what more can we do to help you? And there's a balance. Some of you are doing everything that you possibly can, and we know that. Some of you may be able to do a bit more. Whichever category you fall into, keep going. These last few weeks before you get a good summer break will be important. One of the questions we're inevitably picking up is, what will September look like? We're seeing a reopening of society at this point in time, and again, we're all excited about that, and it's well overdue. Certainly, we want to be getting more students in school. It's been fantastic having an increase in students this week and the limited extent that we've had, and we're looking forward to welcoming more back on site. But critically, it's responding to the scientific information that the government are then able to react to, and then looking at the regulations and how can we meet those within the parameters placed upon us. We've done a lot of hard work on our risk assessments, making sure that we're compliant and keeping students when they come onto site safe, and we don't know what that will look like in September, but I thought it worth sharing just some of the parameters and different models that we're working on. Each of these models takes a lot of time, and some of the staff know that we're going to be going through a lot of hard work for scenarios that may not be used. But actually for parents, perhaps it will give you a benefit of understanding. Our easiest scenario is welcoming every student back on site as normal. We're set up for that, we're well staffed, we've got our schemes of work ready, and we can run that from the word go. Equally, should there be a second wave of a virus, or we find that the restrictions on opening up society don't apply to schools in the same way, we know we're in a position to go to a significantly enhanced online live offer from the start of September. And again, that's something that we'll do. Lots of the staff are practicing and developing their skills with that now. And so, whilst please bear with us at this time, while we're all learning through and developing our skills, we know we'll be in a much, much stronger place to provide that offer in September should it come along. We're also much better placed to help those families and students who are not able to access live online lessons, and we'll continue to develop that further as well. Every student, parent's experience is different through this process. One of the other scenarios that could emerge is that we could find ourselves where we've got half of the students on site and half of the students at home. If we're just teaching smaller groups of students but all our staff are on site, those online lessons are going to be very, very difficult to provide. We're planning for that scenario, but clearly if the teachers are working all day teaching smaller groups on site, they can't at the same time be supporting learning at home. We're looking at a range of models on this, but it may be that we don't get information on how that circumstance would arrive until later on in August. If that is the case, we'll look to communicate with you very quickly in September how we manage that. But all of these scenarios require us to adjust our curriculum, our schemes of work, and make sure that we're trying to do the best we can to support each student. Each scenario does mean a lot of work for the teachers. They're continuing to provide support for the students at home, and part of our job as management is to try and protect them in doing that, but also prepare for this range of possible scenarios as we go forward. I'd just like to finish by thanking you all for your support and offering our apologies for the times we haven't got things quite right through this process. We've looked to respond quickly and appropriately when we can, but we've been learning through as well. I cannot fault our staff for the effort and endeavour they've put in and the level of care they show. The staff that I get to see in limited numbers on site are passionate about their jobs and are really keen to see students back on site. We're looking forward to that scenario, and we welcome the feedback we've had to help us develop and improve our offer. I hope that this message finds you safe and well, but whatever you're facing at the moment, we look forward to working with you for the best interests of all of the students. Take care.